So today's little quick tip, I just wanted to show you the histogram in Photoshop. Now, some of you may have come across the histogram before in camera, for example, but we're going to have a look at it here in Photoshop. And it's a panel which is found under the window menu here, and it's down under histogram. And this is the histogram panel. Now, what the histogram panel is doing is it's showing you the distribution of light in the image. So in this case, we're looking at the full RGB image, so the red, green and blue channels here. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing the light across the image. Now, if I just update that graph slightly there. So what we're seeing here is right over on the left-hand side is the blacks. So these are reds, greens and blues, which have literally got to the point where they've turned into black. And when they hit the edge of the graph, they become pure black. And over on the right-hand side, you're seeing the white. So again, when it hits that right-hand side of the graph, it turns into pure white. And then in the middle, you have these shades. So over on the left-hand side here, you'd have the real shadows in there, the really darker tones of red, green and blue. And over on the right, you'd have the highlights. So you've got these real kind of bright tones of red, green and blue. And then in the middle, you have your mid-tones. So real nice balanced reds, for example, or greens or blues. Now you can look at this broken down by individual colour channel as well. So you can look at just the red channel, for example, here. And you can see we've got plenty of real nice mid-tone reds in here. Have a look at the green channel, more on the green. Not as many highlights on the green. There's a lot more shadows and midtones on the greens. And then on the blue channel, again, the blue is mostly shadows, really. There's very little in terms of highlights or midtones there. It's mostly shadows on the blues. And you can see this if we then kind of take this a little bit further. So say, for example, I wanted to go in here and we'll just grab something like a rectangle shape and drop it in here. And pop a rectangle in here. Now I'm just going to set the colour on this rectangle. Let's just go into here and set this colour to be 254 on the blue channel. So it's pure blue. There's no reds or greens in there whatsoever. We'll get rid of that little pop-up in a minute there. So when we're in here looking at this now, we've got a pure blue there. Now I've probably set that a bit high actually thinking about it in hindsight. So let's turn it down a little bit. Let's take it down to 200. And this will just demonstrate this a little bit better. So you've got 200 on the blue channel and 0 on the red and green channel there. And straight away, when you look in here, you'll see this line has appeared here. And if I was to look at that by channel and look at the red channel, there's no line there. And if I look at the green channel, there's no line there. But if I look at the blue channel, that's where the line is. And the line is representing that particular tone of blue. And it's basically saying that there's a lot of colour, a lot of light coming through on that particular tone of blue there. If I was to adjust that blue, then go in there and drop this number down and we'll take it right down to say 50, which is a really dark blue. So there's still no red or green. It's just 50 on the blue channel down here. And take it right down there. You can see in here that's really dark blue, and equally that line has moved from being over here, it's moved all the way across to here now. So you're seeing that line over on the left hand side now rather than over on the right hand side here. So it's really dropped that blue tone right down and put it over on the left hand side. Similarly, if I look back at the red or the green, I'm seeing no difference in there. They're exactly where they were. It's just that blue tone that's in there over on the left hand side here. And the beauty of these is, A, when you're looking at an image and you're capturing an image in camera, you'll be wanting to make sure that you've got plenty of good midtones and highlights and shadows there. But what you don't want is you don't want a graph that's completely clipping to black or white. So, for example, in most cases, you're not going to want the graph just starting in the middle and going right off the edge at a high point there, because it implies there's a whole lot of data being lost there because it's just clipped to black. Similarly, over on the right here, you don't necessarily want that graph going right off the right-hand side because that would imply there's a lot of data there just being clipped to pure white. And when you get pure black or pure white, I'm not saying don't have any in your image at all, but generally what you're doing is you're losing detail and definition there. These real dark shades or real bright highlights are great, but if you start clipping into pure black and pure white, you're losing the real detail and the definition there. So that's not really a good thing to do. So that's a little bit of a look into the histogram and what it does. Just to show you similarly, if I was to go in there and change that over to red, for example, and we'll make the blue channel 0 and we'll make the red channel 150 and click OK, you'll see that line there, but now it's not on the blue channel. It's now coming through on the red channel, for example. So there's a lot of that mid-tone red in there in this image now, and that's because of this square we've got in here. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer. I'm not sure if that's a quick tip so much, but it's hopefully gives you a bit of exposure to the histogram and lets you see what it's about. And then later on, we'll have a look at how you can actually manipulate this histogram and use it to edit the image by using levels and curves as non-destructive adjustments.